Alright guys, so this is your next question from Cat24, the second slot. You can just pause the video and give it a try and then resume the video for its solution. Alright, a bus starts at 9 a.m. and follows a fixed route every day. One day it traveled at a constant speed of 60 kilometers per hour. The speed is given to us and reached its destination 3.5 hours later than its scheduled arrival time. Next day it traveled two-thirds of its route in one-third of the total scheduled travel time and the remaining part of the route at 40 kilometers per hour to reach just on time. The scheduled arrival time of the bus is. So now what we have to do is we have to look at the first scenario. One day it traveled at a constant speed of 60 kilometers per hour. So one day, I mean the usual day, the speed will be 60 kilometers per hour and it reached its destination 3.5 hours later than its scheduled arrival time. So we'll assume something for the scheduled travel time. Generally people take it as t, but I will take it as 3t for time being. Okay, so usually it travels for 3t hours, but now at 60 kilometers per hour, the bus is reaching 3.5 hours late. So today, when the speed is 60, the time taken will be 3t plus 3.5 hours. Okay, remember 3t was your usual time. Okay, I'll mention it here. The usual time was 3t. Okay, but at the speed of 60 kilometers per hour, the time is 3t and 3.5. Okay, now in the next step, you'll understand very clearly why I assume the time as 3t, the usual time is 3t. Next day, it traveled two-thirds of its route in one-third of its scheduled travel time. One-third of the scheduled travel time. If the scheduled travel time is 3t, it is now traveling for t hours, all right, at a particular speed. And then the remaining part of the route, that is remaining 2t hours, the bus is covering at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Now, many people get confused solving this question. I'll tell you a slight trick to understand things here. Observe that on one day, the speed was 60 and the time was 3t plus 3.5. So the distance will be speed into time, that is 60 into 3t plus 3.5. Okay. Now, next day, it traveled two-thirds of its route in one-third of its scheduled time. Two-thirds of this distance has been already covered. Now, what remains will be one-third of this, right? One-third of this will be one-third of 60 into 3t plus 3.5. Okay, this comes out to be 20 into 3t plus 3.5, and they're saying this remaining distance was covered at 40 kilometers per hour in the remaining time. The remaining time was 2t. So the remaining distance is actually speed 40 into the time 2t. Solving this, you get the value of t and thereby your answer. So 40 into 2t is 20 and 20 cancels. You get 4t is 3t plus 3.5, or you will simply get t as 3.5 hours. If t is 3.5 hours, the usual time can be found as 3t. So if t is 3.5, 3t will be thrice, that is 10.5 hours. The usual scheduled arrival of the bus is 10.5 hours after it started. 10.5 hours after 9 a.m. is nothing but 7:30 p.m. Option C is the answer to your question. So the trick here is to understand the first two-thirds can be neglected. Only focus on the remaining one-third. The remaining one-third of the distance is one-third of this value, which is covered at 40 kilometers per hour and in 2t number of hours. The distance covered should be same. So 40 into 2t is the remaining distance, one-third of this. And thereby we get t and 3t as 10.5 hours. The scheduled arrival time is 7:30 p.m.